Mhm. Well, that was a lot of women in particular were heartbroken when Hillary got defeated because it was
Right.
time. It
Mhm.
was time for a woman to be the president,
Right,
quote
right. And
unquote.
it's almost a surefire way that if you're going to go based on traits people are born with and not who the best person is, you're going to suffer. I mean, and you could still see that now. Uh, it-
There.
mm,
Okay, so the cover the cover is very 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 clever. So the book was written around 2012, the beginning of President Obama's second term.
mm.
What did you see happening at that time that inspired you to write this book?
The fact that Obama got elected twice told me I my estimation of the American people and what they wanted in the future was wrong. I was brought up the 80s and 70s stagflation days in Carter, and it was just common sense. And having studied economics, there's just you wouldn't think, oh, the American people are this dumb to go for socialism, let alone twice. Okay, maybe there's some younger people, younger generations, they don't know any better. And then when Obama got elected again, I was like, oh, this is more of a fundamental change. And it's not something that I individually am going to change. This was, keep in mind, 5 years after the dot-com bubble. Or, I'm sorry, not the dot-com bubble, the housing bubble, which I was working in the field and tried my darndest to stop, at least at the employers I worked for. And this was kind of the final straw on the camel's back, where I realized this train is going to go this direction no matter what I do. This oil tanker has so much momentum, it's not turning around, and that instead of trying to change it and invest in the country as an individual, I would have to react to it the inexorable way that it is going, and I would have to be the one to change. And so I wrote a book where, like, generally we keep going down this direction, the United States will end. It might still be here in name, but the country of America and independence, and we're going to carry our guns, and you support yourself and freedom. That's dead. That will no longer be the case in the future. And so that's what prompted the book. Is like, okay, you get to change your minds, and not necessarily change your minds, but you get to change and adapt your attitudes to the new reality that is slowly evolving in the country that you live in.
Okay, now what's interesting is in the book you make the point that people voted for socialism,
Mm.
and coming from the black community, I know that a lot of black people, which makes up a significant part of the Democrats' coalition, they
Mm.
voted for him because he was black.
Right.
So, and I think some we're going to get to this. I think something you get to in here is that most voters aren't thinking about the policy points or the ramifications of putting certain people in office.
Right.
So that's just something I wanted to add on there. I think, yeah, they're probably, yeah. Well, there is a chunk of the population who wants free stuff, but I know that from my background, I know a lot of people just voted for him because he was African American.
Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, what's his name? I forget the actor. He's like, you darn right, I voted for him because he was black. And there's certainly that, but you could almost say, especially with the Trump election where he won and the Trump presidency, we've increasingly becoming more of a bread and circuses type of voting constituent. We're turning more into what was it? Arnold Schwarzenegger ran and he won. Donald Trump ran, and people are not sitting there saying, "Geez, what is the government spending to GDP ratio? I wonder what that is." People and guilty on both sides, where it is theater almost. It's who's the more charismatic. No one Politics should be boring. It should be based on economics. It should be based on how do we best help society in the long term permanently. That has been, I think, maybe the last time that was probably Reagan, because Bill Clinton, if we went back, he was probably the more popular president. He played the saxophone. He was on Arsenio Hall to date us as how old we are. The girls loved him. So we long ago abandoned, well, what are their policies? And you can even see that in kind of presidential debates happen, or regular political debates happening between candidates. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Well, and then I don't even necessarily know that if it's yeah, it is a bad thing to vote for someone because of a trait they were born with. But I could totally understand it where it's like, hey, it's one of our guys in, and they're like, yeah, okay, sure. Why? It's not bad as long as the underlying candidate has policies that are going to help people. And so we've long ago abandoned any kind of sober analysis of the country's problems and finding the best man or woman to put in these positions of power. And now it's all theater. It's no different than cheering for a football team, or I guess more. I take that back. Football is more prestigious. This is more like cheering on a professional wrestler, where it's all fake and theater.
Hmm. Well, that was a lot of, well, women in particular were heartbroken when Hillary got defeated because it was
Right.
time. It
Mhm.
was time for a woman to be the president,
Right,
quote
right. And
unquote.
it's almost a surefire way that if you're going to go based on traits people are born with and not who the best person is, you're going to suffer. I mean, and you could still see that now. You take a municipal example, not on a national level. Let's just go a municipal example. Southside Chicago is still a crap hole, and they had Lori Lightfoot before. They got the new guy now. Both happen to be black. Okay, well, fine. Maybe you got pride that your mayor is black, but Lori Lightfoot did not help the plight of black citizens of Chicago, and neither is this guy. And I'd like to point out these things for everybody's own betterment, but nobody listens because they're so blinded by a blue team, red team, and this is our team, or we're the Green Bay Packers, and those are the hated Dallas Cowboys. I've given up on trying to reason and rationalize with an entire population of a country.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess that's why likability matters for these things.
Mm.
Okay, so I first heard of the United States being a declining empire by